Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, we'll start off talking about the distribution of the PVCs across the country. Well, Mr. Ezekiel Nya-Etok joins us now. He's a public policy analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Well, after that presentation by the chairman of INEC comes this report and such complaints. Although INEC in their latest figure say they've distributed, they've achieved about 75.94% of PVC distribution. They have precisely 52,275,367. I think if I remember properly, they intend achieving, if they get 85%, they say that may not be too bad. But in spite of all those challenges, how do we juxtapose them?
The first is having proper mindset and understanding of issues as opposed to what we call politics. I think the time has come when Nigerians need to draw a fine line in understanding what politics is and what governance is. They are not exactly the same thing. I was shocked once when I was listening to one of the leading British counsels, very old man, and he said that one of the regrets that he's had is not being able to let people understand what the law profession is all about. It's not about morality. It's about putting something in your court and you convincing this person beyond reasonable doubt. And if you understand that, then you'll see why a lawyer will defend a criminal. Now, we believe that this is right. And for goodness sake, how can you defend that? That's the perception of the public. But if we understand the essence of the law and the work of the lawyer, we'll be able to understand better what they are doing. Now, the politician in the Nigerian context is there to make capital gains. It's a means of livelihood. So he's not going to help you to his own detriment. He's not a moralist. He's not a pastor or an imam. So if he sees that you are winning, and it is in the larger interest of the country, his work is not to help you win. His work is to stop your momentum, even when it goes against the interest of the nation. So coming back to this
Let me quickly
issue,
pop in on that part before you move on to the next one. Is that on a politician-to-politician basis or party-to-party basis, or politician to the electorate?
Politician to Nigeria. A politician is in business. A politician wants to get into power. And if he knows that you are gaining momentum, he's not there to applaud you. He's there to stop your momentum.
Even as a voter?
Oh, yes, even as a voter. So when it comes to PVC, two sets of people are sitting. INEC is strategizing on how to get these things done. Politicians are also strategizing on how to stop their opponents. So what do? The first is I need to increase my base as much as possible. So I don't understand what INEC is doing. So I want to keep the cards, I want to hoard the cards, and I want to stop my opponents from having the cards. Because if my opponent has the cards, he will win the elections.
Does that suggest that politicians are infiltrating INEC officials?
Oh, that's their job. That's their job. No security man is going to help another security consultant agency to do well. And if I must succeed, you see, politics is a big game. It's a mighty game. The game of power, do you understand? It's a mighty game. It's a life and death game, which they don't say. Only Obasanjo was able to boldly say this is a do or die affair. That's really what it is. Because the moment you become a senator, my guy, you don't need to think twice. You are made. The moment you become a governor, you are a demigod. And the process of getting this thing is through the ballot box. So as INEC is making a lot of effort, what we need to do as the public is to wake up and understand the dynamics of the process. In the Senate, you saw what was happening. So many senators were shocked. I don't know if you were watching them, the camera on their faces. They were like, wow, what's happening here? Because they had their strategy. I've contested elections before. And we know how these things are done. Free and fair does not favor the present political class because we don't like them.
They don't like free and fair
Yeah,
elections.
no, they don't like free and fair because we don't like them.
Are we being,
okay.
sorry to interrupt you, but are we being charitable to politicians in general?
No, I'm not
because
here to.
I know
Okay,
that
okay.
one has to be
Yes.
careful because
Yes.
here we are, we're also
Yes.
looking at people who are already
Yes.
self-made, who
Yes.
actually went into this for service.
Malcolm,
There are people like that. We must acknowledge that.
Yes, yes, I agree.
And then when we also say that it is the work of the politician
Yes.
to stop your momentum, you're
Yes.
also aware of the debate that has been going on
Yes.
as to why the elections were really
Yes.
shifted.
Yes.
You know, and these kinds of insinuations and, you know.
two things.
Yes.
First, I want to agree with you that overgeneralizing an issue could be counterproductive. I agree with you. Because for me to say that every politician is there for the money means that I was going in there for the money. And if I can dare to think that I was different, it means there are also some people that are there for the difference. So I want to concede to you on that point. But we know, an average Nigerian knows, that the generality of politicians are not there for service. That's why you cannot kill me to come and be my laundryman. You want to volunteer your service. If I don't like it, you're like, well, shake the dust off your feet and keep on moving. Why is it a do or die? It's because there's a second part of it. So I concede part to you by overgeneralizing, but I want to tell you that the statement I made is valid over 80–90%. So back to where we were.
In terms of politicians not going in generally for service.
In terms of understanding the mindset of politicians,
That's
so that we don't follow them blindly.
There were two things that you
Yes.
said, you know, talking about the mindset of politicians
Yes.
and also talking about what the politician does, you
Yes.
know, stopping the momentum.
Yes, yes.
What that does is it lends credence to the opposition's, you know, talk that this was actually to stop their momentum.
You see, I'm not really here for this opposition, no opposition thing, which makes sense to a great extent. I'm here for the Nigeria. Because we talked so much about PDP, APC. Who is talking about Nigeria? Who's talking about the generality of the people who are following people blindly, not understanding why they are following the people? Who is talking about the people that are being deceived, that I'm doing this in your personal interest, whereas it has absolutely nothing to do with your personal interest? Who is talking about us saying, look, transformation or change in whose interest? We must ask those questions.
Well, it's good that we ask those questions, but it's also good that we point out the larger implications of the things that we say.
The larger implication is that if we are not careful to get the Nigerians to own the system, we continue to be taken on a ride. And the time has come when Nigerians should sit down and ask pertinent questions. Number one, on PVCs. Why is INEC having this hell of a problem? I look at Jega, and within reasonable parameters, I see a man making so much effort and saying things he cannot say in public. He's being frustrated on several issues. For instance, why would the cards for Imo be found in Cross River, or the ones in Cross River be found in Taraba? Somebody somewhere is doing something wrong. Is it that the INEC staff professionally are being incompetent?
No, but did we expect that that was not going to happen? That they were not going to try and take advantage of the system if they can?
Thank you. Because we know they will try and take advantage of the system, we come to think a little differently. And what are we saying? Number one, INEC, be in the know that your people could be compromised. And as a result, do extra checks. Could be. So that let me not be overgeneralized this time. Number two, the world has become so easy to manage through technology. Two sets of people abound. First set of people are those that really don't want to go and pick up the stuff because they don't really believe what's going on. The second set of people are those who really want to pick it up, but they don't have it within their area. For two reasons, again. First reason is that it's probably amongst the 800 to 1 million that has not been produced, or amongst the group that people have deliberately pulled out. I mean, you were listening to the lady that was talking. He said, look, I go to have my PVC, and they say it's not there. Who has it? Some days back, I was listening to a leader from the north who said that he didn't find his card, and he went there and said, if I don't have my 2 cards, my wife and I Abuja is going to hear this. And a few days later, one small boy came to his door and gave him and his wife. And somebody says, if you see Okoro, you say it's not available. If you see Yemi, you give it to him. This could be speculation. There could be reality. So what do? It's very easy. Okoro, don't kill yourself. There's a portal opened. If you have not collected your card and you are sure of it, put in your details. We'll cross-check. We have 1, 2, 3 weeks window. We'll see what we can do about it. When you do that, even without doing anything, all of a sudden, people that were hoarding this and says, oh man, it's useless, return it to them.